Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Thom Abraham Show on an overreaction Monday. Maybe it's just a reaction Monday. I don't know what you want to call it, but there is a lot to get to this week, including the fact that, well, it's Tennessee Hay Week. So can I just get this out of the way?
Man,
right now?
I hate Tennessee because, first of all, it's Tennessee. And I just hate them because they low down, they dirty, they some snitches. And I hate Thom. I hate their colors. I'm not a dog person. I just hate Tennessee, man. Like, and I hate Neyland Stadium. It looks like a garbage truck worker convention. And I hate all their quarterbacks. I hate Tennessee, man.
Describe what you feel about their colors, too. I thought that was interesting.
It reminds me, and it's not that orange that you can stand. See, I hate Tennessee more than I hate Auburn. I just dislike Auburn. I hate Tennessee. See, Tennessee's colors is that throw-up orange. It's not that orange that you can sit with. It's that puke inside of a pumpkin orange. And I don't like pumpkins. So I really don't like Tennessee, man. I can't stress that enough, man. And they losers. They sore losers because they're not Alabama, and I hate Tennessee, man.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, we had to get it out of, we're going to have plenty of that all week long. You know that we're going to have a lot of that all week long, so I had to get it out. Just had to get it off my chest. All right? So now it's out there. Look, is this the most meaningful Alabama-Tennessee game since what? I don't know, 2009 with the Rocky Block year in Tuscaloosa? But actually, that's not even true because that year, the Lane Kiffin year on the Rock, Tennessee came into that game 3-3 and unranked, while the Tide were 7-0 and I think number 2 in the country. And that was just the beginning of Nick Saban's reign of terror over college football. I mean, this is different. In fact, during this 15 years of domination by Alabama, these teams have only met once with both teams ranked, and that was in 2016 when the Tide was number 1 and the Vols were number 9, and the game was in Knoxville. I mean, we all remember what happened then. Well, just in case Tennessee fans forgot, it was 49-20. No, 49-10. It's 49-10. It wasn't that close. Now, this year, it's number 3 versus number 6, if you like the AP poll. It's number 1 versus number 8, if you prefer the coaches poll. In fact, the coaches' top 10 was totally unchanged, while the fickle writers had all sorts of ups and downs going, hey, we'll move these guys up. Oh, we'll move these guys down. It doesn't matter. Georgia struggled to beat Missouri last week and it struggled to beat Kent State, but boy, they look good against Auburn. And then Alabama struggled with A&M with a backup quarterback. We'll move them down to number 3. Doesn't matter, though, because we had a playoff. So before we get to all of that, we got plenty to reflect on from this past weekend. And if you want to talk about, the phone lines are open. 256-576-4977. Got a couple of legends waiting to get in already. You can text the show at 732-9TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469, which is a great way to communicate with us. My Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. We are on the Facebook and a Twitter at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch the show, although we're having a little bit of a camera problem from my studio right now, so you might not be getting the full experience there. Coming up on Friday night, the now playoff-bound Buckhorn Bucks will host Fort Payne in the final region game of the season in Newmarket, with a chance to improve their playoff seeding against a really good Wildcats team that comes in at 6-1. John McGough and I are on that one. Madison Academy is at Brindley Mountain, off another big win with Steve Moulton and Glenn Laird on that call, and Randolph puts its 6-1 record on the line at New Hope with Austin Coletti and Drew DeArmond on that one on Zone 3. And as always, the Woody Anderson Ford North Alabama Scoreboard Show with Scott Tyson will begin on the Blitz at 8:30 and then move to the air after the Buckhorn game. Now, coming up in the next segment, Tom Luganville from ESPN is in. He was on the call for the North Carolina win in Miami and is at BYU this week for Arkansas's game out there. The Hogs have become quite disappointing after getting hammered by Mississippi State. And now halfway through the season, we need to reevaluate the SEC. I mean, look, I thought Arkansas might be the second best team in the West. They are not. They are not the third or the fourth either. A&M was supposed to be close, but they are number 4 in the Western Division of the SEC. with the two Mississippi schools, 2 and 3, and I'm not even no longer sure which is which. Look, Ole Miss is unbeaten, while State has that loss at LSU. So it's the Rebs right now as the number 2 team in the SEC West. But State is really looking good. Arkansas is 5, LSU is 6, Auburn 7. In the East, it's clearly Georgia, but Tennessee is next. Although Kentucky with Will Levis does not lose that game at Carolina, or to Carolina at home. And Will Levis would still have a shot against the Vols. Florida would be number 4, Carolina 5, Missouri and Vandy 6 and 7. At the top of the 11, Joey Blackwell is back from BamaCentral.com with our Alabama report coming off an exhausting win against the Aggies. Look, I know Jalen Milroe is just a redshirt freshman. But so is Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and BY when they got going. And this guy is nice, but he is not those guys. We're just new with those guys. He's not those guys. He's truly a physical specimen. He looks like a friggin' linebacker. And he's an excellent runner. But he is slow to make a decision with the ball. He looks at the rush way too much. And when he does throw, he's not super accurate, although he did make a couple of really nice throws. But he's not the future. I don't think he's the future. I'd like to see more of Ty Simpson and, of course, the new batch of guys who will be on campus next spring, notably Eli Holstein and Dylan Lonergan. I get Tom's take on that as well, because he's all over these rising freshmen. But next is an explosive Tennessee team, and this will be a huge test. I am kind of surprised that the Tide are a 7-point favorite in that game right now. But there is plenty of chatter that Bryce Young will be back, and that would be huge for them. At 11:25, Auburn captain, tight end John Samuel Shanker will join us, courtesy of Valley Equipment Rental. Shank caught 5 more balls, was targeted 8 times, and had one ill-fated run, which was on that fake punt from the Tigers' own 34 on 4th and 6 in a 0-0 game. When you had held the Dogs' offense down for the first 3 series of the game. Georgia had run 14 plays for 57 yards and no points in their first 3 drives. And what do? You give them the ball on the plus 36 and the route is on. Look, I know it's not that simple. I'm not saying it, well, that's the whole game. But why? You punt and let's see if Georgia can start driving the ball at all. Your defense is playing good. They're gripping a little bit. They're clinching a little bit. So what do? Well, you get the crowd back in the game. You get the team feeling good about themselves. It's just asinine. You just don't understand it at all. You allow them to breathe. It was a desperate, horrible decision. And then there were the penalties, 10 of them, including a pre-snap penalty. And each of the first 5 series, so hard to watch. Just so hard to watch. Now they're 15-point dogs at Ole Miss. And again, where is there a league win? Where? I just don't see it happening. Who are they going to beat? Are they going to beat Arkansas? Are they going to beat Mississippi State? Are they going to beat Texas A&M? Are they going to beat Alabama? Are they going to beat Western Kentucky? Just rip this Band-Aid off. We had baseball. It was stunning. Thanks for coming, Mets and Cardinals. Mets win 101 games. Get whacked at home by some big-eared, greasy-eared. I mean, look, it was a cold night. That dude's ears were awfully sweaty on a cold night. But we do have insight on it, apparently, from one Andrew McCutcheon, which I thought was fascinating. And the Cardinals get whacked by the Phillies. So much for, well, yeah, but you get in, you get in it, but you're the higher seed, so you get to home ice in the first. You get a home ice in all 3 games. It's the best of 3 at your building. What happens? The Phillies go to St. Louis and won 2 out of 3. San Diego goes to New York, wins 2 out of 3. And the Mets are gone before the Yankees even play their first playoff game. And now the Braves get the Phillies beginning tomorrow at noon, right here on our air after my show. So we got that.
You come at the Kings, you better not miss.
Better not miss. Let me get my little buddy in here. He's over there in that little glass booth playing the Platters That Matter in the Stacks of Wax and answering the phones, keeping us on the air. Not only stoked for the Braves and the Phillies, probably feeling a little bit not bad about the way the Falcons looked against the Bucks. It's DJ Grizzy Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. All right? It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Hey, Grizz, how you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing all right. But yeah, that was I enjoyed. I enjoyed the comeback. I wish they had done something sooner rather than having to kind of come.
Who's the they?
The Atlanta Falcons. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
You were talking about the Falcons with me before introducing me, but I mean, just watching them literally kind of cave like that, but to also get that horrible,
Oh my God.
horrible roughing the passer call. I mean, this is ridiculous that it was under 3 minutes.
Man,
it would have been fourth down.
There was like 4 of them yesterday. You know what it was? I think it was part of this whole re-examining the concussion protocol thing that they were going to take care of the quarterbacks and stuff. That one was ridiculous. I don't know what you do. You grab the guy around the waist, you hit him perfectly, you roll, you kind of roll and you twist. Brady gets up screaming for a flag. Of course, he gets a flag.
The same thing.
But
I
mean, you had that, but there were 2 or 3 others. There was one that was called against the Chargers in the Chargers-Browns game that I've been trying to find the video of. You got to see this thing.
I did watch a little bit of the game, but I didn't see it.
This guy just kind of he kind of like pushes Jacoby Brissett a little bit right after Jacoby Brissett throws the ball. He gives him a little push. Jacoby takes 2 steps backwards and then goes down like a European soccer player, like he was shot from the crowd. He goes down and they throw the flag.
They're starting to flop. They're starting to flop in NFL or something. They've been doing that for a
like
while.
You
though.
wouldn't believe.
I feel like.
And there was another game, and I can't think of which one. There was at least 4 roughing the passer calls yesterday that were so absolutely ridiculous, and some of them are flat-out game changers, like that one in the Tampa Bay Atlanta game.
I mean, the same thing that happened in the Tampa Bay Atlanta game is the same thing that happened to Tua. It just wasn't as, I would say it wasn't as, like, is because Brady was already going down. And so he was already going with him and going that same way. It wasn't different when someone's pulling you that way. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, and how many times has Brady been saved by the NFL because of situations like that? I know he's had that one where they basically changed the rule where you can't tackle low anymore. And then that literally happened in the Alabama game where someone got tackled low and nothing got called about that.
It's different in college.
I get that. I get that. And
it's a
it's
different
just,
rule.
It's just ridiculous, though, that you're going to talk about that in the NFL. You're the best. You're going to try to do this. You've been talking about this, trying to be protective about concussions since 2010. I mean, even before that. I don't understand why we're sitting here in 2022 and we're sitting here arguing or still trying to figure out what's a tackle and what's not. And we're sitting because the thing is they don't practice tackling in practice. So I mean, it's just like half the time.
This all has to do with the concussions.
But it's also protecting the quarterback because they also said how, which is how the rule is labeled or whatever, and it's basically describes any freaking motion that the quarterback does is it's almost hurting him.
It's hard to explain. It's hard to it's hard to watch as well. But I mean, it could be worse.
Yeah,
could be a Mets fan.
Yeah, you could be a Mets. You could be a Mets fan.
The Mets just need to say the Braves are our daddy.
Oh
seriously.
My God! I mean, you got to be kidding me. Give me to Phillip. Give me to Phillip. Let's let him go because at least he's got the Cowboys. And I might jump on the bandwagon with him. But how about them Cowboys? Phillip, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, conflicted.
conflicted.
It was a great afternoon, horrible night. I still say, the whole Babe Ruth thing with the Red Sox, right?
Yeah.
I still say the curse. When the Mets this year, and don't give me, that was previous ownership. Gary Carter died over 10 years ago. Not my fault that the previous Mets owner didn't give a damn. We had this year Keith Hernandez, who was a huge, God bless Keith Hernandez, great baseball player. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, when it came to 86, which has been 35 years ago, the dude gave up on the team, left the dugout, was in the locker room having a beer and a smoke when 86 happened. Gary Carter was 86. And this year, this owner decided that Willie Mays' number deserved to be retired for this organization ahead of Gary Carter.
So wait a minute. How is that So are you tying that to why they lost in the playoffs? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're doing here? Are you saying that so it's karma? So in other words, because they screwed up and they retired the wrong guy's number, that's why the Padres came in there with the greasy-eared pitcher and were able to beat him.
Yes. And it's not just the Padres.
Yeah.
The Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right
Everybody beats the Mets. Just saying.
It's not just what happened in the wild card series. It's about us being swept by the Cubs, us being swept by the Braves, when everything was laid out in front of us. I mean, there's karma and there's karma. And I'm telling you, just like the old Andy Griffith when Barney went berserk on Count Balecki, remember that little episode? I'm telling you,
maybe
that was a bad, horrible decision by the New York Mets to retire Willie Mays over Gary Carter. Willie Mays, fantastic dude. We had this conversation. Willie Mays, great baseball player, and deserves all the accolades in the world. But when it comes to the New York Mets, for them to retire that dude's number over Gary Carter was the dumbest move I've ever seen an organization in any sport ever make. Oh boy.
But it has nothing to do with what happened to the Mets. So let me ask you a question.
Do you pull for what happens to the Mets?
Do you pull for the Braves now? Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Are you going to pull for the Yankees or the Braves in the baseball playoffs the rest of the way? I mean, or you're not going to watch?
Hey, no, I'm going to watch because baseball is the greatest game ever created.
Yankees or Mets? Yankees or Mets? Who are you pulling for?
Braves definitely over the Yankees because they're National League.
Phillies or Braves?
I mean, Braves.
Braves over the Phillies. Okay. All right.
And
Padres or Dodgers?
I mean, the Dodgers. What human being walking the planet can have a ill bone towards the Dodgers?
Me.
You got the whole. I mean, everybody what's not to like about the Dodgers? Even though they're not my favorite team, you got the Tommy Lasorda. It's one word.
Everything.
Tommy
They're like the Mets of the West.
They're everything, man.
They think they're the best all the time.
But they actually win.
And their fan base doesn't show up.
They only won the fake. World Series. All right, Philip, that's a good job by you, man. How about them Cowboys? Let's be positive.
I got one more thing to say.
All right.
How about your Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys? Panthers have fired Matt Rule. Panthers head coach
Yikes.
Matt Rule fired. Okay. Let me get Wolverine Dan in, but he's got to be a little bit quick because I let Philip go way too long, and we got to get to Tom Luganville. But let me get because Wolverine Dan's got a great game this week. There's only a few really good games in college football this week. One of them is that Michigan-Penn State game. That's going to be a fantastic football game. Wolverine Dan, welcome in. How are you?
After listening to Phillips, hit me with a sledgehammer, put me out of my misery. Jesus, Phillip, my God.
Some people say that about you. You know, they say that about you sometimes.
No,
they don't?
No. I'm positive. Phillip is very negative. Now,
okay. All right.
With that said, let me explain something, okay?
Yeah.
Let's start with the Lions, all right? The Lions are playing for a first-round draft choice. This is where I spin the negative into positive, Phillip. What's going to happen is that we have 2 already. That'll be 3 first-rounders, and I suggest we go all defense. That's our problem now.
Well, you might want to grab one of those quarterbacks. There's going to be a lot of good quarterbacks in the draft this year.
Well, we might be able to. Now, let's move on to the Michigan Wolverines. Now, since the Big Ten play, we have not played a whole game, and that's because it's more better competition. And if we play like this, there's a very good possibility it's going to be a bloodbath at the end of the year. Ohio State's playing out of their mind. If we play Michigan State, which we're going to, it's Penn State this weekend, then Michigan State. If we do not perform like Ohio State did against Michigan State, Tom, it's pretty much Ohio State, and they're going to probably win the Big Ten. Don't you agree?
I'm not done with Michigan or Penn State yet. I'm not done with Michigan or Penn State. Ohio State always seems to have that game where they'll lay an egg somewhere. But, yeah, right now Ohio State looks really good. There's no doubt about it. Michigan State is awful. Good thing they gave all that money to Mel Tucker. But I am very interested in. I'm very, very interested in Penn State at Michigan. If Michigan beats down Penn State and looks good doing it, I'm not ready to put Michigan away yet.
Okay, so Philip, that's how you do it. Okay, I'm not screaming, jumping off bridges and everything. Relax, Philip.
Right.
Okay. Now, and I will ask one more question, and then I'll hang up.
Yeah.
Can Tennessee actually beat Alabama?
Yes. Yes, they can.
In Knoxville.
They can. Yeah, in Knoxville, 7-point deal. They can. If Alabama, and thanks for the call, Wolverine. I appreciate it. We're going to talk about that more with Tom Luganville. But if Alabama turns the ball over 4 times, and if Alabama doesn't have a legit passing threat, if Bryce Young doesn't play, I think he's going to play. But if Bryce Young doesn't play, yeah. Can Tennessee, very explosive team? Yeah, they can. I don't think they will, but I tell you what, this is the best shot they've had in 15 years. Tom Luganville's next. Tom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN.
After a long, hot summer, there's nothing quite like the cool, crisp mornings of fall in Huntsville, Alabama. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's time to get out there. Whether it's hunting, camping, boating, biking, or kayaking, we've got the F-150 to take you there. It's truck month at Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got 2022 F-150s in stock on the lot, ready for your driveway today. And with your good credit, get financing as low as 2.9% for up to 60 months. This offer ends 10/31. Being the best-selling truck in America for 44 years in a row is no small feat. But I promise you, if you come drive an F-150, you'll understand. Woody Anderson Ford has nearly 100 F-150s to choose from and lots of colors and option packages. One of these is right for you. Truck month at Woody Anderson Ford. Exceptional deals on all our trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And a great selection of Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles. Woody Anderson Ford, corner of Jordan and Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Flow Trampoline Park is your one-stop fun spot for your next birthday party. Whether you're a boy, girl, kid, or adult, Flow has you covered. Party packages allow up to 25 plus guests, so you'll be able to bring all of your friends. And with all the fun competition to be had at Flow, maybe enemies too. Party packages will give you access to 60 minutes of jump time, grip socks for all guests, a private party room, and a party coordinator. Flow is behind South Parkway and Drake, behind Cracker Barrel. For more information, go to flowhuntsville.com. Get jumping with Flow.
One of the best-kept golf secrets in the Tennessee Valley is Cherokee Ridge. Cherokee Ridge truly offers golf at a higher level with immaculate greens set against a spectacular Appalachian backdrop. This 18-hole championship course takes every advantage of rolling hills, whispering woods, lakes, and streams. Interested in becoming a member? Their membership plans feature affordable options for couples, families, and individuals. Book your tee time today, 256-841-4551. Cherokee Ridge. Championship quality, affordable prices. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. And we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Your Atlanta Braves are National League East champions.
In the air to right field, Ronald Acuna back. Ronald is under it. The Braves have won it again. For the 5th year in a row, the Braves are champions of the National League East.
For the 5th straight season, the Braves are kings of the East, and we're ready to bring you every single moment of the NLDS and the entire 2022 Braves playoff run, all live on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up today at noon. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This segment of the Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford. For all your service needs, it's Woody Anderson Ford. Doesn't have to be a Ford to get service at Woody Anderson Ford. They do such a tremendous job, though, at Woody Anderson Ford. Check them out. Don't forget the pre-owned vehicles, the gold certified pre-owned vehicles at Woody Anderson Ford. And all you've got to do is go to WoodyAndersonFord.com and you can learn more about that. Joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, a guy who was on the North Carolina-Miami game and has a pretty good one coming up this week as well. He is Tom Luganbill from ESPN and ABC. Lugs, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good morning to you.
Let me ask you a question. Is there a more beautiful setting in the country for a stadium than at BYU? I mean, is that like the most beautiful? I mean, it's got to be nothing like it, right?
It's the most picturesque, beautiful, and if you catch it on like a bluebird day, and the for some reason, I guess it's altitude or whatever it is, man, that sky's a little bit of a deeper color blue. Got the Wasatch Mountains there. And the way that the stadium is set, I mean, the backdrop off of the television camera angle is just, I mean, it's remarkable. I don't know why. It's just, I think it's just sheer luck. But I've had a BYU game each of the last 4 years. 3 of the 4 have been in Provo. And it's a difficult place to play. Fans love it. It's loud. But again, man, just the whole look of the scene is unlike any other place I've ever been in college football.
I don't know if it's the altitude that makes the sky so blue. I think it's the clear air. You know what I mean? The clean air. I mean, there's just nothing in the air but air. You know what I mean? It's that's probably a big part of it. Can you see any of that from the field, or is it only that? Because we get that shot they show from on top of the press box, and you see the beautiful mountains and the crystal blue, sky and everything else. But I always wondered, like, I've never been there, so I wonder if you're on the floor of the stadium, whether you can see anything at all, any mountains or anything.
Oh yeah, you can. And the way that stadium's situated is the end zones and the side portions of the stadium don't actually connect. The corners aren't closed; they're open. So if you're standing on the west side of the stadium and you're facing those mountains, you can see it. You can see it over the visiting stands, but you can also see it through the creases in each corner. Man, I'm telling you, it's like there's times where you're just walking around in pregame warm, you're there prior to the game on a Thursday, Friday, and it's beautiful, man. I don't know if there's any other way to describe it.
Do you know if the altitude there is the same as like Denver? Is it at least a mile high? Because I'm wondering if it affects the players of the visiting team. You got a team coming in from Arkansas, you know what I mean? They're from the dirty South.
I know.
You wonder whether or not it impacts them, because unlike the NFL, I don't know that they go in too early.
No, it's not like it would be like if you were playing at Air Force or if you were playing in Boulder. It's not that high, but I've actually never really noticed any type of difference or any impact on teams that have played there that have come from non-elevated locations.
Yeah. All right. So you get that one. Was the crowd hammering away at the Hurricanes, or was there not enough of a crowd to actually boo them?
There was more people there than I think any of us expected, especially if you look at what their attendance has been so far this year at home. Mm-hmm. I think it was because it was a conference opener, and a lot of people wanted to see that quarterback at North Carolina. It's just there's not enough people there, and they're so quick to turn, man. I mean, they are the moment you see something that just didn't go right, or you have a 3 and out, or you miss on an open receiver, somebody's cackling in the stands. It's not a positive environment for a program and a team that they need a lot of support right now. It's tough.
Yeah. Matt Rule is available. I don't know if you heard that, and I know you're right there over there in chat, but he's been let go by the Panthers after their 1-4 start there. Look, there's already a bunch of college football openings right now, and we know that this is going to be a huge number, I think, of openings that happen. Matt Rule's got to get a real good look, I would think, as a college coach because of what he was able to do at Baylor.
Well, I would think so. And what he was able to do at Temple prior to that. So
yeah, right.
And sometimes you make that jump and it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. It doesn't work out. Doesn't mean he's a bad coach. Doesn't mean that doesn't mean he made all the right decisions either. But I think that with the jobs that are open, the success he's had at the collegiate level. There's no doubt that he should be a highly coveted name. Now, he'd be coming back into a college game, though, that's vastly different than the one that he left in just a few short years. I mean, you think about the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness. He wasn't dealing with any of that when he left college football.
You say, sometimes it doesn't work out. It hardly ever works out. It didn't work out for Steve Spurrier. Didn't really work out for Nick Saban. Didn't work out for a lot of guys that try and make that move. We see it in the NBA all the time where college coaches try to go to the NBA, and it's a players' league, and it's ex-players that are better at, have more success at coaching. It seems like, and you coached on the professional level, and you worked at the Dallas Cowboys, but it just seems like it's a different dude And I just got done reading Bob Stoops' book, in fact, and he had 2 opportunities to go to the NFL and took a good hard look at the Cleveland Browns job at one particular point in time and decided that he'd rather have 25 first-round draft picks and that he would rather have more control over his team and everything else in the college game. It seems to be pretty rare for it to happen. And some people will point to Pete Carroll, but Pete was an NFL coach who went to college and then back to the NFL. That's different than the guy who's been a career college guy that tries to make that jump, don't you think?
Yeah, and I got to go back to one other thing on that you bring up, and people they fail to realize it or they never did realize it. But I think it's pretty fair to say that Nick Saban is never the head coach at Alabama if Drew Brees passes his physical.
I don't know if it is fair to say. I'm not sure. I mean, not that he wouldn't have been good there. Drew Brees, would have been a different guy there. But my understanding is that Terry and the kids hated Miami. Hated it. The kids hated their school, and that Saban wasn't real comfortable with the pro environment anymore. It wasn't like when he had left, years ago from being with the Browns. I don't know that wasn't in the works at some particular point in time anyway. I just don't think he liked it, and I know that she hated the whole Miami scene.
Maybe so, but when you have a quarterback in the NFL, ask Bill Belichick the last couple of years, you have a chance. Yeah. And if you could have gotten one, Drew Brees, that may have changed things. But, getting back to your point, the National Football, it's such a quarterback-driven league.
Yeah.
And it's just when your quarterback plays well, if you have some other components, then you have a chance each and every week. If you don't, man, you're going to struggle each and every week. And like I look at the Dallas Cowboys right now. What are you going to do when Dak Prescott is cleared to play? I know what
it's 4-0.
Yeah,
Cooper's
what you're forced to do because of the money invested. You're going to have to play. You're going to have to play Dak Prescott. That's the beauty of the difference between college football and pro football is you don't have to make that choice in college football. You don't have something more invested in one guy than you have in the other. And so now we have to tinker with team chemistry. We've got to tinker with momentum and all those sorts of things. So I think in many regards, if you're struggling at the quarterback spot in the National Football League and it's just not turning over for you, that's the one thing that I think is if you're Matt Rule or anybody else, dabbled with the NFL, you go back to college. Now, there's a lot more headaches in college than there are in the National Football League. But depending on the job that you have at the collegiate level, you might have much more opportunities to have success because there's not anywhere near the parity that the NFL has.
I don't know how much NFL you get to watch because you're catching up already on other college games and so on. But what did you think about these roughing the passer calls that were called yesterday? There were 4 of them that were just everybody's talking about the one against Tom Brady because it's Tom Brady, and it was just like a perfect tackle. You know what I mean? They're talking about that one, but there was one in the Chargers-Browns game where a guy just literally kind of just gave a light shove to Jacoby Brissett, who took 2 steps backwards and then went down like he was Lionel Messi, like some kind of soccer player or something. And they called roughing the passer. There was 2 others in other games as well that were just equally ridiculous. And I know that
frustrating.
The concussion thing and everything else, but my God, I mean, just a light shove, and they're calling roughing the passer. It's crazy.
It is crazy, and then you look at the one I think yesterday was Dallas and the Rams, and they called a roughing the passer against Dallas on Matthew Stafford, and really the initial contact was to Matthew Stafford's left shoulder.
Right.
It wasn't to his face mask, wasn't to his head. We've gotten to the point. Listen, I'm all for player safety. I get that, and I'm all for ensuring that guys play for a long, long time. But there is an inherent risk that you take when you play this game, and we can't turn it into a pillow fight. And no matter how advanced we've gotten with medical science, how advanced we've gotten with the technology and the equipment, and how much better it is, how much safer, it's never going to outpace human evolution.
Right.
I mean, the player now is so big, so fast, so strong, so powerful, so explosive, that we can do everything we can to minimize risk, but you're never going to eliminate it. And now we've turned the thing into the protection of the quarterback is because there's so few of them now that you could actually, get to the playoffs with. But man, I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's going to turn the fans off sooner or later because it's unwatchable.
Well, the other thing is that I don't like about it is it's by strategic design. What I mean by that is, I remember the first time I saw empty, I was like, what the hell just happened there? I mean, what do you mean there's 3 on the right and 2 on the left and there's not a tight end or a fullback? Look, you want to protect the quarterback, keep a fullback in. Invent a fullback. Keep a guy in to block a little bit. You want to protect the quarterback. How about a tight end? Widen out the 9 technique with the tight end and keep them in the formation. What you're telling me is because the rule defensively. I was a defensive guy. I'm going to send 1 more than you can block. Hell, I don't think you can block 5 with 5. But if I send 6, you're screwed. And that's what defenses are doing now. And you're on these guys. Even if they get rid of the ball, you're going to hammer them time and time again. You can prevent me from doing that. Keep a tight end in. Keep a fullback in once in a while. But nobody wants to do that. They want to play flag football. They want to play 7-on-7 football and not protect their quarterback at all and then yell when your quarterback gets hurt.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. And the other side to that is, and this is where, college football is a bit unique outside of, a handful, not even a handful, 2 or 3 guys in the NFL, but at least in college football, you can, because of the quarterback, you can force the defense to have to actually defend all 11 players. Mm-hmm. In the NFL, you're outside of like Lamar Jackson, maybe sometimes Patrick Mahomes, you're playing 11 on 10, right? I mean, if the quarterback's not a threat, he can't run, you're not having to worry about adding another player to the box and dealing with that. So, to me, if you know that we got to stop the run and then we're going to have to rush the passer, I don't think that we can, as a sport, we can diminish this any further than we already have, Tom. What else can we do aside from, I heard somebody say something one time. They said, you want to limit some of these collisions and these contacts? Go back to playing without face masks.
Oh, yeah. No, you get your head out of there in a hurry. You want to see some great tackling? Watch that that Australian rules rugby. Watch those guys tackle. They got no gear on, and they tackle perfect form tackling because they keep their head the hell out of there.
And they have less concussion.
Yeah, and they have less concussions. There's no doubt about it. Tom Luganville with us here. Speaking of quarterbacks, Jalen Milroe, with his first start and extensive playing time, 2 games in a row now he's played in pressure-packed situations and so on. He's a wonderful runner, and it seems to be an incredible athlete. He has made a few accurate passes and such. But we saw Jalen Hurts as a redshirt freshman. We saw Tua as a redshirt freshman. We saw BY as a redshirt freshman. This is not those guys. It doesn't feel like this is the future. This guy seems like he's focused on the rush a lot. He's a little bit of a scatter arm. It just doesn't feel like this is the guy, and nobody really knows what Ty Simpson looks like. We think Bryce Young's going to be back sooner than later. They got 2 big-time recruits coming in this upcoming year. I mean, what's your take on the future of Jalen Milroe? He's not the heir apparent, is he?
I just don't think he's far enough along as a passer. I think he's a guy that when they signed him and they recruited him, they signed him as an athlete that they felt like they could develop and bring along. He clearly has arm talent. He can clearly throw the football. It's not as if there's lacking of ability there. I think he's a more explosive runner than Jalen Hurts was. He can give you everything that Bryce Young can give you with the legs, if not more.
Legs.
And to be honest with you, I've got Arkansas and BYU. I just got done with the second half of the Arkansas-Alabama, and he doesn't make that 3rd and 15 play. I mean, all the momentum is on Arkansas' sideline. I mean, he and Jahmyr Gibbs bailed them out in that game. He played really, really well. I actually expected him to play the way that he played against Texas A&M. I thought he would make errors because he's inexperienced. He's not polished enough yet. He's not developed enough yet. Not nuanced enough yet. He's kind of a runner first, passer second. What they ask him to do is probably not overly complicated, which if you're Bill O'Brien, right, you want to simplify. You don't want to overload him. You want to make sure you're doing things that he's confident in, but that also may limit how many things you got on the call sheet. Yeah. So you got to make sure that you don't put him in a position to fail because you're expecting him to be Bryce Young or you're expecting him to be Tua or that's not reality. It really isn't. And I think Alabama fans too, in fairness, they've probably been a little bit spoiled in the sense that they watched Jalen and then had Tua, right? And they watched Tua and then you saw Mac Jones pop. And you watch Mac Jones pop, And then you also had Bryce Young there. They haven't experienced that yet with Jalen Milroe because I don't think he's as advanced or as far along as those players were when they got their moment. And I'm trying to be as fair as I can to Jalen Milroe here, but I will say this. If they don't get Bryce Young back, I'm not sure Jalen Milroe can beat Tennessee on the road. Because if Tennessee gets out on you and it turns into a track meet,
right?
I don't know if Jalen Milroe is advanced enough in the passing game to play that type of game.
Well, and that's my thought is that you're going to have to outscore Tennessee. I think Tennessee will get theirs. They're going to get theirs against that. They're very impressive offensively.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And as great as Alabama sometimes is defensively, if they don't get home, if you try to get home on Hendon Hooker, he's going to run for 15 or 18 yards. And if you don't get home on him, I don't know that Tennessee's or Alabama's defensive backs are good enough to stay with these guys with Tennessee. So you're going to have to outscore them. I think this is a shootout-type game, and you're right. I don't think that Jalen Milroe is shootout guy necessarily.
Not yet.
Now, maybe he's offensive. Maybe he's 13-play drive offense guy. Maybe that's Alabama's strategy is to use the offense as a defense and keep them off the field that way and just run the hell out of the ball. Because I'm not sure that Tennessee can stop the Alabama running game, especially with Milroe as part of it.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think that part of it makes it more difficult for Tennessee this week because they have to prepare for designated quarterback run on any given play. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily the case with Bryce, but the flip side and the downside. See, where I've been impressed with Tennessee, Tom, is they have been able to jump out in front of people, right? So when you do that, you're playing into how they want to play offense. They want to get 90 plays a game. They want to snap the ball in less than 12 seconds. And so when they feel like they're playing with the lead, they're now dictating terms. If you can force them to have to earn it early, I think it's an entirely different football game and an entirely different approach. And you look at how that game started last week at LSU for Tennessee. The moment the first 30 seconds clicked off the clock, LSU was done. They were out. And they couldn't recover. And so that's, I think, the most important thing is if you let Tennessee get out on you, you let them put their pedal down to the floor, and you're playing with a backup quarterback on the road, knowing that you'd have to score touchdowns on probably every series, that's a recipe for disaster if you're Alabama.
All right, before I let you go, I got to ask you, and I'm not saying that this completely changes the game, but Georgia's first drive, 3 plays, 9 yards, punt. Second drive, 5 plays, 12 yards, punt. Third possession, 6 plays, 36 yards, missed long field goal. So Auburn has the ball on their own 34-yard line, 4th and 6. Let's give them the ball right here on the 36. Get the crowd back in the game. Get the team fired up. Let them breathe and give them a 36-yard field and the route is on. What in the hell are they thinking calling for a fake punt in a 0-0 game when your defense is playing well and the Georgia offense is struggling like they had the last 2 games, and you're not going to make them go a long field? What I don't know. This is the kind of stuff that I don't understand that these people do.
Yeah, I have no explanation for that in any way, shape, or form. Now, if this was on the plus 46, that's a totally different discussion, right? You're on the road. Let's lay it all on the line. We're playing pretty good defense right now. But you essentially, by doing that, are giving them a field goal before they even snap a play, right? And so, no, I'm with that. And the other head scratcher to me is, why are you trying to throw it so much? I mean, it's a quarterback position right now. I think it's been inept at best. They can't move the ball, and they can't function consistently in the passing game. And maybe it's just the fact that Auburn was like, we're not good enough to move these guys in the run game, so we're not even going to try it.
Well, again, shorten the game. You know what I mean? Even sometimes the punt is okay. You know, I guess sometimes it's all right to run the ball 3 times and punt on 3rd and 8. You know, it's or
make sure
4th and 2. Yeah, it's okay.
Make sure every drive ends in some form of a kick.
Absolutely. All right, as always, Tom Luganville does a tremendous job. We could do a whole show with him. Lugs, I appreciate you. Enjoy the beautiful setting at BYU, and hopefully Arkansas can hold their head up after 3 straight losses and represent the league well.
Hey, I might have to take you up on that. One day we'll just do a 3-hour show.
I love that. I would
How
absolutely
long are you
love
on, 3
that.
or 4?
2 hours. Nice 2 hours, man. Bang, bang, 2 hours. Yep.
Well, we could almost do that half asleep.
We could knock that out so fast. We could be talking about Michigan and Penn State today. We could be. I mean, forget about it. We could do a whole show.
Boom.
Yep. All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy.
That's it. God, I could do radio with Luke. He and I twice have talked about teaming up to do stuff. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, we'll set you up for hour number 2 right here on Reaction Monday, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The Huntsville Sports Commission, a not-for-profit organization, is driven by the love of sports. And we're excited to announce several events already planned for this fall, including the Gulf South Conference Soccer Championship, the AVCA Fall Collegiate Beach Championships, the NCAA Division I Regional Cross Country Championship, and the Running Lane Cross Country Championships. For the love of sports, the Huntsville Sports Commission. Find out more at huntsvillesports.org.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Smart businesses are always looking for ways to improve. Better work days can start with Cintas. Your dedicated Cintas service reps help make sure you have what you need when you need it. We'll stock your essential cleaning products, deliver hygienically clean workwear, inspect your fire extinguishers, and provide first aid and safety supplies. Cintas is with you every step of the way, so you stay a step ahead. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again, proud to be a sponsor of All Things Football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected. YKTA wants you to join their team. YKTA is currently adding machine maintenance and die maintenance positions to their fast-growing company. YKTA has new improved work schedules with built-in days off. Pay range is $25 to $33 based on experience and additional shift differential. And YKTA has opportunities for increased pay above top range through advanced skills training. Apply today at yktal.com/careers. YKTA is an equal opportunity employer.
4 Heisman Trophy winners, 33 Southeastern Conference championships, 18 national championships. Hi, this is Chris Stewart of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a deed to the land, but it ain't my
high ground. This is God's country.
Wait a minute, Shanker coming up
We
already?
pray for rain and thank him when it's falling.
What you doing, Chris? You killing me.
No, I got added to the rotation, man.
Oh, did it?
This is just a song that got added.
I like it. I got a few others that I want to add. I have to send you an email on that and see if you can find a couple of others that we can get into the rotation. But we'll see how that all works out. Now we got a busy second hour of the show coming up. Joey Blackwell is going to be joining us here in just a few moments at the top of the hour, and we'll get his take on Alabama and Tennessee. We'll also get his take on Alabama and Texas A&M and how all of that went down, and just how close they were to losing that football game. I also have audio of Nick Saban on that final play, breaking down that final play, which I think is absolutely fascinating. We'll have to get that in there as well. And then John Samuel Shanker will join us as well, talking about Auburn and what they need to do to right the ship. It's all coming up. Hour number 2 is next, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama A&M University football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com and view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see ya in the Kia. Go Bulldogs!
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Sports. I'm Kevin Winter. Breaking news into the Sports Center newsroom this morning. The Atlanta Braves have locked up yet another one of their young stars to a long-term contract. Rookie right-hander Spencer Strider, he agreed this morning to a 6-year, $75 million deal that runs through 2028 with a club option for 2029. The 23-year-old Strider made 20 starts, went 11-5 with a 2.67 ERA. The Braves will open their division series against the Phillies tomorrow afternoon. The coverage starts 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. All 4 division series begin tomorrow. The nightcap, Dodgers and Padres, after San Diego blanked the Mets 6-0 last night. By the way, for the Braves, tip of the cap to Hembo, the Braves have Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna Jr., Ozzie Albies, and now Strider, all locked up for 39 years of service time for the price tag of $580 million. That's it. Chiefs Raiders Monday Night Football starts 6 Eastern coverage.
Local sports is covered right here.
Well, appreciate what you guys do for sports, but also for high school sports and taking time to talk to us. That means a lot, and appreciate what you guys do, and appreciate you having us on.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 70s. Some of us could even hit 80 degrees. Dropping into the mid and upper 40s through the overnight. Mostly to partly sunny sky for your Tuesday. Really is going to be a fantastic afternoon. Temperature climbing into the lower 80s, dropping into the low 60s as we head into the overnight. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible Wednesday afternoon, but the best opportunity for any sort of thunderstorm activity or widespread rain is going to come Wednesday night into Thursday. Temperatures on Wednesday climbing into the low and mid 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Nick Saban Show.
We talk about finishing. That's like the number one word.
To Alabama football.
Touchdown, Alabama!
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog, Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? You know who I am.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
Danny T says you need to have God's Country queued up and ready to play when I call in because in 356 more days, that's where I'll be. Is he dying? Is he going to be dead? Where is he going to be? What's God's Country?
It's not good.
I think God's Country is everywhere in the South, isn't it? It's all God's Country. I tell you what, where I'm from in upstate New York is God's Country. You get outside of most major cities in America, it's God's Country.
Is that a Yellowstone reference? Is that why?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, yeah, Montana's God's Country. Wyoming. I don't know what he's talking about. Heaven? Dead?
You ever driven the backwoods, Alabama? There's a lot of pretty places down there.
God's Country is all over Alabama's God's Country.
Everywhere.
Once you get outside the city limits of
You get
Birmingham.
to L.A., man.
Yeah.
Or Alabama.
Kidding me? All right, this segment of the show is brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage, which is God's Country. And North Alabama Mortgage, they will help you buy God's Country in Tennessee, Alabama, and in Florida. They can make sure that you have the right product and get you pre-approved. Not pre-qualified, but pre-approved. So when you make that purchase, you are your offer is going to be looked that much more attractive because you're pre-approved with North Alabama Mortgage. I promise you. I also help you with your refinances as well with North Alabama Mortgage. Pull some of that cash out of your property. North Alabama Mortgage. All right, joining us now, Joey Blackwell, and he just does a great job covering Alabama, and he joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Joey, welcome back. How are you?
Doing great, Tom. How are you this morning?
I am fantastic. And Joey, of course, with BamaCentral.com, the Sports Illustrated site for Alabama. And you can find everything about all things Alabama there at that site. All right. I described the game as exhausting against A&M. It was an exhausting, and for me as a Browns fan, it was exhausting Sunday to watch them lose to the Chargers and miss a field goal at the end of the game. It was exhausting to watch Alabama on Saturday and see that thing come right down to the final play, which was defended brilliantly, I thought, by Alabama, although I think a perfect pass from Haynes King earlier, if he had gotten rid of it a little earlier, may have connected, but it was just a scant moment, I think, when he was open. But what was your take watching it in the press box?
Yeah, it was a wild game. I was actually down there on the field for that final drive from Texas A&M, and that's probably the loudest I've ever heard Bryant-Denny Stadium. It was electric, and kudos to Alabama fans that were there. But as far as the game itself, definitely a lot closer than a lot of people thought it would be. But ultimately, what matters is, as Chris Stewart said, it's not at the end of the year. People don't ask how; they ask how many, and that one will count as a win. So, ultimately, it's it was good to see, Jalen Milroe didn't have the best game, but he was able to get the job done, and hopefully, that'll be a good preparation for this weekend as hopefully Bryce Young comes back against Tennessee.
Milroe, he did some things that were very, very good. He was very loose with the ball in traffic. That's why he puts the ball on the ground 3 times in that game. But it seemed like he is looking run first. You know what I mean? He's looking at that rush. He's looking for an escape route and so on, instead of hanging in there a little bit longer. But boy, when he does get out of that pocket, he is explosive. As long as he puts the ball away.
Yeah, I hate to compare him to somebody that they just played, but I really compare him to kind of a KJ Jefferson type of quarterback in that, he's not the type of guy that's going to, run around tacklers. He's going to try because he's bigger than half the defense he's going up against. He's a big guy, but that when it comes to that, you also have to be able to protect the football, and that's something he wasn't able to do. Obviously, Bama fumbles the ball 3 times; they lose all 3. He also throws an interception. So, if he has to play against Tennessee or later this season, ball control is definitely and ball handling is definitely something they're going to have to emphasize with him.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, another 154 yards on 21 carries, and what an amazing deal! How we saw the transformation in the run game happen literally in the second quarter of the Arkansas game. A team that we didn't know if they could run the ball, if they had to run the ball. They had to run the ball in that game. He had the 2 big runs, and then in this one here, 166 yards, with the biggest one being just 37 yards, meaning he had a lot of 14, 18, 15-yard runs. But man, that is encouraging to see this kid doing what he's doing, and I think that I think the sky's the limit for him right now.
Yeah, like you said, since the Arkansas game, we've really seen this run game pick up, and I think a lot of it has to do with Jahmyr Gibbs, but on top of that, I think a lot of it has to do with the changes they made on offensive line, particularly at center, putting in Seth McLaughlin in there over Darian Dalcourt. The run blocking has been tremendous for Alabama the past game and a half, and I really like what I've seen there. The holes have just been massive, and when you have big holes in the line that runners are able to drive a truck through, and you combine that with the speed and the quickness of Jahmyr Gibbs, you're going to have a really good combo and a recipe for success there. So while the run game, took 4 or 5 games to get started, I really like what I've seen over these past, couple of weeks here.
His explosiveness through the hole is incredible, and they've moved Randolph out from the guard position and put him back in that number 85 jersey and lining him up as a tight end and basically running 6 offensive linemen, and that just seems to be the niche that works with him.
Yeah, for sure. Randolph obviously came into college as a tight end. They moved him over to offensive line, and now they're transitioning him back, and he's done an excellent job. And like you said, they're like playing 6 offensive linemen, and Gibbs is also a pretty good blocker as well. So as is Chase McClellan when they need him, if it's a passing play. But this line has really come along, and it's going to be very important against a very good Tennessee rush defense and pass rush.
Yeah. On defense, Will Anderson, it's been really interesting. He is getting a decent amount of single blocking. He is getting a lot of pressure. He seemed like he had pressure, but he's not getting home, which is kind of interesting as much this year as he did in last year and the year before that. But he seems like he's in there a lot. He only gets credited all day for 1 tackle and 1 assisted tackle, so he ends up with a total of 2 tackles in this game. Another game without a sack, but it's really I don't know what the difference is right now. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're doing something to him that is creating that. And certainly Dallas Turner seems to be the beneficiary of it. He had a couple of sacks in the game.
Yeah, I think one thing people need to remember about Will Anderson is that at the edge rusher position, you can still impact the game and not appear on the stat sheet. A lot of the plays from the quarterback this past weekend from King were, mistimed throws or inaccurate throws because of Will Anderson getting back there. I think the key defensive side of the game was Will Anderson, and that was his 8 quarterback hurries on the night. I think he actually had a few more than that weren't tallied or recorded. But like you said, he was back there all night, just hasn't been able to close the deal, and I think that's just because his skill. He's obviously on the map. Offensive lines are preparing for him all week, and since they're having to do that and double team him quite often, you're seeing Dallas Turner be able to get into the backfield more often. And that's why, having one Will Anderson is on your team is great, but when you have 2 very talented edge rushers, it makes it really difficult for opposing offenses.
I thought Deontay Lawson looked really nice in there at inside linebacker as well. He ends up with 5 tackles on the game, but I thought he was solid in the interior running game.
Yeah, no, he was. He was definitely crucial having to play there. I forget the injured player that he replaced right now. I'm blanking on the name. But him coming in there was definitely key. That was one of the question marks when we saw the starting lineup, and he definitely performed well and definitely communicated well with Toto, and that's why why the running game was really, really limited. A-Chain is obviously a fantastic running back, but he was very limited with that Alabama, being able to stop on the inside.
I thought Haynes King played pretty well, though, for them, too. I don't know that it would have been any better with Max Johnson than with Haynes. In fact, if anything, I think Max Johnson takes about 3 sacks in that game that Haynes King, avoided.
Yeah, I was very impressed by, what he's able to do, because they're obviously in a similar situation with, that Alabama is with Jalen Milroe having to come in there and replace Max Johnson. 25-46, obviously had to throw the ball a lot, but he was able to get 2 touchdowns, an interception. I thought he was, able to, like you said, he was able to dodge tacklers fairly effectively and, keep plays going that really should have been over and done with. So I like what I saw from him, and, with some development, he can really, I really see him succeeding at A&M.
This is the second time Joey Blackwell with us from Adams Central talking about Alabama and now coming up against Tennessee. This is clearly the highest, the most anticipated game in this 15-year run, I believe, other than the fact that, Lane Kiffin came in to Tuscaloosa, but they were a 3-3 team when that happened. There's only been one time during this 15-year run of Alabama dominance. I want to make sure Tennessee fans understand what I'm talking about, 15 years. There was only the one time that both teams were ranked, and I think that was 2016 in Knoxville. Alabama went in there and hammered them like 49-10 or something like that. That game, this Volunteer team seems better than that one, and this Hendon Hooker, he's a problem, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they deal with him, because if you put too much heat on him without being able to spy him, and you got to have a spy that can make the play on him, he's going to hurt you with his legs. But if you lay back, I don't know that you can cover their receivers for that long.
Yeah, this game is going to be, the defensive backs for Alabama is going to be really crucial, as well as its containment, because like you said, Hooker is very capable of not just throwing, which he gets a lot of praise for, but also running. We saw when he was at LSU, he was able to run, for I believe it was 56 yards, and had a 26-yard sprint in that game as well. Hooker is just, quickly come about to be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, and Alabama's going to have his hands full. I don't know if they played a quarterback this year that is as talented as him, and combine that with a hostile environment in Neyland, it's going to be a big one. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, it's the first time both teams have been undefeated and playing each other since '89. I believe it's been that long away, and so it's going to be an electric environment. Obviously, this game, over the past decade and a half, it hasn't meant quite as much to fan bases, but this rivalry is definitely rekindled this year, and it's going to be must-watch television for sure.
So that 2016 game, Alabama was number 1 and Tennessee was number 9. Did they have a loss, Tennessee, at that point?
I could be wrong. I'm quoting something that one of my co-writers told me this morning, so I haven't actually.
It might be wrong. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. I never let the facts get in the way of a good story. But I know that's the only one that they met. The only one that they met in during the 15-year reign of terror. The only year that they met in that Tennessee was ranked, other year, was the textbook game in Tuscaloosa in 2007. Tennessee was number 20. Alabama was unranked, and they spanked them 41-17 that year without those 5 guys that were out due to the textbooks. But the only year that both teams were ranked is that 2016 game when Alabama was 1 and Tennessee was 9. That game was in Knoxville, also a 49-10 game. I just don't. 10. It isn't going to be 10. It is going to be 14. It might not be 21. It just feels like you're going to have to outscore those guys. And then the question is, if Jalen Milroe has to go, can you outscore Tennessee with Jalen Milroe at quarterback? Because I don't think you're going to hold Tennessee down. I just don't.
Yeah, I think if Jalen Milroe has to be the starter for Alabama, I think their chances of winning drop, dramatically. I think even with Bryce Young in there, you're going to have some problems just because it's a really, really good Tennessee team. That being said, this Tennessee team, I was looking at statistics this morning, and this Tennessee team, they have the 11th best rushing defense in the country. They're really, really good at the rush. But I was shocked when I saw their passing defense. They're actually ranked 128th out of 131 teams in the country in pass defense. They haven't given up a lot of touchdowns, but they're averaging giving up over 300 yards a game to opposing quarterbacks in the past. So that's a key stat to definitely be looking at heading into this game, because if Bryce Young comes back, it looks like he might be able to have a pretty solid game if the pass rush doesn't get to him. So I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on that moving forward.
By the way, Tennessee was 5-1 going into that game in 2016. So Alabama was undefeated, but Tennessee was 5-1. So there is that. I would just I'm just going to be a little careful and skeptical about those numbers. I understand that they're way down there in the pass defense, but I'm going to say this: they've been ahead a lot. I mean, they've been way ahead a lot. And so other teams, there's a lot of that could be garbage yards. You know what I mean? A lot of it, you throw for 300 yards against them because you've been trailing for 30 points, for a lot of the game. So, it'd be interesting to see. I just very, very cautiously approach this. I was shocked that the number is 7, that Alabama's a 7.5 point favorite in the game, unless they know for certain that Bryce Young is playing. I think that's a right number with Bryce Young playing. I don't know that that's a right number without him playing, but I don't know. What are you hearing? Because I heard that he was close to going into the game if he was needed, against A&M. What is your thought, and what are you hearing about him being ready to go for Saturday?
He was very close to coming into the game, actually. You didn't hear this from me, but one of my sources told me that he was actually warming up in the hallway outside of the eyes of the media and the fans. He was warming up in that fourth quarter, so he was very close. Ultimately, they opted not to put him in there because they still are a little hesitant, which is understandable. But I think we'll definitely see him start this weekend. I think he's ready to go. Obviously, it's better to be safe than sorry, which is the approach that the training staff has been doing, and they definitely know what they're doing. So I'm sure we'll probably see him in practice. Maybe not today. But we'll probably start seeing him, hearing reports of him, fully practicing, getting ready by Wednesday.
Yeah, I heard that if that game had been tied, if A&M were able to have tied the game, that Bryce was going to be coming in. What's going to be really interesting is if with him in there and the fact that he doesn't run, I wonder if the running game is actually helped overall by Milroe being in there. In other words, what I'm saying is that they have to defend Milroe as well, and there's that hesitation because I just don't understand how all of a sudden a run game, well, like you say, maybe it's changes in the offensive line, but how this run game all of a sudden exploded, once Milroe came in, and I just wonder if defenses are a little more concerned about him, and it kind of opens up some lanes for the running backs.
I think that could be the case. I also think that Milroe isn't as afraid to run as Bryce has been. So far this season,
there's no doubt.
Bryce has been very hesitant to run the ball, and I think if he is the starter this weekend, I think we might even see him be even more hesitant. Because when he was injured, he was scrambling outside the pocket. So I think that's definitely a factor. I tend to lean towards the offensive line, like you said, but at the same time, I do think this changing quarterbacks definitely has defenses more on their toes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, it was a big day. There was no doubt about that either. Did you leave with the feeling, because I did a commentary about this today, and I'm not, look, I know he's a young kid. It's a redshirt freshman. It was his first start, and these last 2 games was his first meaningful action. But I felt something when I saw these other redshirt freshmen. We've been spoiled, but I mean, one right after the other with Jalen Hurts and then Tua and then Bryce Young, after Mac Jones, who had been around for about 9 years. Did you saw you were seeing the future? When I look at Milroe, I feel like I'm looking at a stopgap, a guy who can make some dynamic plays. I don't feel like I'm looking at the next guy. I don't feel like he's the starter day one in 2023. Between Ty Simpson, the 2 young kids coming in, I'm not getting that feeling that we're on the cusp of the Milroe era. But I don't know. How do you feel?
Well, obviously Bama has 2 guys coming in Lonergan and Holstein. They also have, like you said, Simpson and Milroe. I think this is a guy that has the personality to be the starter. I would like to see more development, which obviously he has plenty of time to do that.
Right.
We have to remember, though, Mac Jones, when he was put in when Tua got hurt back in 2019, he didn't have a very great couple of games either, and people were concerned. And then what happened? The next year he had a remarkable 2020 season.
Right.
I don't think, he's definitely, cut out to carry the team right now, but I do believe in him. I think with some more development, some more experience, getting to stay under Mac Jones, I do have a lot of confidence in him. That could be my bias because I really like him as a I like his character. I really like, he's a very classy guy. But I'd like to see more for him for sure.
Well, that's good. My son says the same thing, so I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I would love to be wrong on that. I'd love to also see more of Ty Simpson and see how he develops. I think that spring battle next year. I don't think the young kids, I think Holstein and Lonergan are down the road, but I think that Simpson-Milroe battle is going to be a fascinating one when spring ball comes around, next year. But I guess we'll have plenty of time to wait and see, how that whole thing develops. That's for sure. Yeah, didn't Mac? Let's see, Mac in that first Iron Bowl, he threw 6 touchdown passes in that game, right? 4 for Alabama and 2 for Auburn.
Yeah, I was talking about his first couple of games, that the Tennessee and the Arkansas game, I believe. Those are the ones.
Yeah, those struggled.
He heated up there.
Yeah, he heated up a little bit. That was a crazy game, that Iron Bowl. And he said, "Here, I'm throwing everybody a touchdown pass. Here's one for you. Here's one for you. One for the guys in blue too. I'm gonna throw you one too now." So, all right, man. Well, I appreciate you as always. Great stuff.
All right, thank you, Tom. Appreciate you.
Thanks. Joey Blackwell. That was Central. Am I lying, Grizz? Didn't he throw 6 touchdown passes in his first Iron Bowl? Mac, not his year that he was the Heisman Trophy winner. I'm talking about
5 or 6, and then I mean that Iron Bowl was absolutely just insane. I mean, he
threw 4 for Alabama and 2 for Auburn. I think I really do. I think he did. I know Auburn had 2 pick sixes, but I think he threw 4 for Alabama.
Oh, yeah, no, he threw 4. I believe so. I threw 4 for Alabama. He threw 2 away, which was just like. But every time he threw the pick, he responded with a touchdown.
Yeah. He kept coming back.
And that's the thing about
a touchdown pass for everybody.
That's the thing about Jalen Milroe, though, is as much as I get it. Those 2 turnovers were just like, oh my God, what are you doing? They responded, and he was able to drive down the field and actually throw the ball too into the end zone. So I mean, it was it was good to see him. Even though. Being the status that he is, it was good to see him be able to, even though he made the mistakes, he corrected those mistakes. And this is his first real game. So, I mean, it was actually pretty good to see. I mean, it should be scary, honestly, for people to be able to watch him.
I'm more concerned about the fumbles than I am the interception.
Yeah, definitely. Holding like a bread basket.
Right, a loaf of bread. He's going through there like it's a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And the thing is that is. I don't. That's such an instinctual thing when he starts to take off.
Right.
I don't know how quickly they can get him to curl that wrist and cover the points and get that thing up against his body. I don't know how quickly he can make that decision.
And I think the bonehead decisions were running away when you're in field goal position, when you could have had 2 easy chip shots that really Will Reichert. I mean, he makes those 2 field goals. It's 30-20, and we don't really talk about
that's
this.
That's a whole other issue. Why is Will Reichert missing field?
Yeah.
And somebody had. Tweeted, Alabama's, problems in the kicking game show up again. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Will Reichert's been unbelievable. I mean, that was an anomaly. This is not Cade Foster, okay? This is Will Reichert.
This is not Bolovas, who
has been great.
Kicked the only score for Vandy when they played Vandy.
I mean, he's no Cade York. Do you remember back in the day when Cade York was the greatest field goal kicker in the history of the NFL? Do you remember that? It was a long time ago, like 5 weeks ago. He was the greatest kicker in the history of the NFL.
Yeah.
And he missed 2 very makeable kicks in a game they lose by 2 points yesterday. Don't get me started. My God.
He
missed
kicked
a 47-yarder.
Pre-game, he kicked a 65-yarder.
Yeah, the 47, he got to make that. And the 54, to be honest with you, in perfect conditions – you make the 54 to win the game. You made the 58 to beat the Panthers. You make the 54 to win the game against the Chargers, for God's sakes. Do you know that the Cleveland Browns – don't even – it was so exhausting yesterday. This weekend was exhausting for me. The Alabama game was exhausting. The Browns-Chargers game was exhausting. Do you know that the Browns, who are 2-3, their 3 losses are by a combined 6 points? They lost by 1 to the Jets, they lost by 3 to the Falcons, and they lost by 2 to the Chargers. They've lost by 6 freaking points. They're that close to being 5-0. 5-0 they should be. But they lost 3 games by 6 points. And let me tell you something. You typically cannot get me out of my chair with a stick of dynamite on a Sunday afternoon. You know what I mean? When I get home Sunday afternoon and I'm watching a game, the early game, then I can't wait to watch the late games, put it on the Red Zone channel, I'm watching them games. You can't get me on it. Let me tell you what I did. I watched about 5 minutes of the Cowboys-Rams game. I turned the TV off. It was so gorgeous outside. I turned the TV off. I got up. I went out to my barn. I didn't even put the games on the radio in the barn.
Wow.
I went out to the barn. I put on...
Meditated.
I put on some music. Who did I put out? Who's the Tennessee whiskey guy?
Is that Stapleton?
Not Jamie Johnson.
No, that's not
Stapleton. Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, Stapleton.
Wow, I'm surprised I knew that.
I put on the Pandora on the Chris Stapleton channel, which they play all kinds of bluesy country. I put on the Chris Stapleton channel on the Pandora, and I went in my barn for an hour and a half and put away all my gear from the tournament, my fishing gear and everything, and retied some stuff and organized some stuff, and it just kind of was in my barn for an hour and a half. People are like, Where's Dad? Where's Pappy? Where's Dad? Where's my husband?
You know, and I was like, alone.
I was alone in my barn listening to music, playing with my fishing tackle.
Go check on him. He's been out there for a while.
That's how friggin' exhausted I was. Just so annoyed.
I mean, I was just happy that 54 put the Falcons game on TV. I mean, I was actually surprised that was the game that they decided to play.
Oh, it's the Bucks, Maybe it was because
I'm surprised it wasn't the Panthers game then.
I got to be honest with you. I am incredibly stoked for the Braves Philly series and the Yankees Indians Guardians series.
Whoa.
The Yankees, Gideons, the Gideons series, whatever the hell they're called. I am stoked for baseball. I really am. I'm really stoked for baseball. The problem is they can't play all of the games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
And then Friday,
because
then when Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's going to
or noon, really noon.
Which one, tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Well, I mean, I guess
I love that tomorw.
Maybe I wanted a late afternoon. Maybe I wanted that late afternoon game.
It's like, what am I supposed to do Saturday? Yeah. You know what I mean? And then they did that, and then hockey happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? Now the hockey is starting. It's like, hockey, stop.
Basketball.
Don't do this yet. No, I don't care about basketball, so it doesn't bother me. But hockey, you can't do this to me right now, hockey.
Yeah.
Listen, hockey should start the 1st of November. Hockey should start after baseball. I can't have hockey going on while I've got October baseball and college football and the NFL. I can't have hockey. I don't have time for you, hockey. I don't have no time for you, hockey.
Where are we at? I mean, we haven't even talked NASCAR in a while. Where are we at in NASCAR?
Who the hell knows? Who won the race yesterday? Did they have a race yesterday? I have no idea. NASCAR's over. I mean, they did Talladega last week, for God's sakes. Talladega, my favorite track in the world.
They did Charlotte.
I know it was Charlotte. This past week was the Roval. I mean, the week before was Talladega. We didn't even talk about it once. I don't even know. I think the Elliott kid won at Talladega. I think Elliott won. I have no idea. Nothing. I have no highlights, nothing. Who won yesterday? Do you have any idea at the Roval?
Bell. Christopher Bell.
Kidding me? Christopher Bell won a race? Well, because he's a good road racer. So that makes sense.
Yeah, Chase Elliott won last week.
John Samuel Schenker is up next, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOC Sports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOC Sports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOC Sports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? Two Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
I have a big head, and you don't have to have the brain the size of mine to know that you can save thousands at University Kia.
Right now, drive home a sporty, new 2022 Kia Forte for only $179 per month. Only at University Kia.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for a 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-99-BET-US and get into the action.
Get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
This is the Thom Abraham Show with the Auburn Tigers captain, tight end John Samuel Schenker.
Wide open in the end zone. Touchdown. John Samuel Schenker. Touchdown, Auburn.
Presented by Valley Equipment Rental.
Yes, it's why they call it God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running. Saved by the sound of a pin-found Dixie whistle.
And welcome back. Segment of the show is brought to you by Valley Equipment Rental. For all your equipment rental needs, it's Valley Equipment Rental. They will get you taken care of. And let me tell you something. For the excavators, the skid steers, they got more of those than anyone else around. Dozers, all that stuff in 2 locations. If you check out the north location, it is spectacular up there north of Winchester Road on the North Parkway. And, of course, the original location down there by Drake on the South Parkway as well. They got everything you need. And if you're not sure how to use a particular piece of equipment, that's okay. They'll help you. They'll train you up if you need it, and they'll help you out. They'll deliver the equipment. They'll do whatever it is that you need to have. And who knows? I mean, maybe they got to deliver some equipment to Auburn to help them dig out of this little hole that they have put themselves in. But joining us now, the outstanding tight end and captain from the Auburn Tigers, John Samuel Schenker. John, welcome back. John Samuel, welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm real good. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. You want to talk fishing, or do you want to talk about Braves and Phillies and the baseball? Because that might be, we could talk about either one of those.
I'm a big Braves fan, so they're looking pretty good right now.
You fired up for that? I mean, how do you find, what are you doing at 1:00 Eastern time, noon Central time tomorrow? I mean, are you in class? Are you in training? Are you in practice? Where are you? And how do you find the game tomorrow at noon?
Yeah, I'll be in class, but I'll definitely be getting updates on it throughout the game. We made a pretty good run late. It seems like the Bravos tend to do that. 5 in a row, I think, now for the division. So that's a pretty impressive run we're on right now.
How about the Mets? Win 101 games. Thanks for coming. Enjoyed you this year. Get them. Take care. We'll get them out of here just in a minute. I know you didn't play with Sonny, right? Sonny DeShera. He came over here and played for the Rocket City Trash Pandas after the Auburn season was over. He did all right, man. I mean, that's a big jump going from college baseball to AA. But that kid, he might not be in the greatest shape in the world. Looks like a left guard, but he sure can handle his bat. That's for sure.
Oh, he can swing it. Throughout the entire year, he was a big deal here in Auburn. Big reason why I went to the World Series, too. He's fun to watch at the plate.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right. Let's see. What else do you want to talk about? Want to talk about fishing? I was at Lake Hartwell. I fished in the Bassmaster Open in Lake Hartwell. Finished in the middle of the pack. So that was there was that.
Did you see the video of the guys that put weights in their bags for their fish weigh-in?
You believe that? Well, wait, not in the bag, in the fish. They were walleye now. Yeah. It wasn't us bass fishermen. Bass fishermen wouldn't do that. They were walleye fishermen. Those guys, you can't trust a walleye fisherman. But
apparently not.
Yeah, they were jamming all of that. Wait, those guys had won a total of over $3 million in that particular tournament. They won $40,000. But see, you weigh in walleye dead. Like in a bass tournament, you weigh them in alive and they release them. In a walleye tournament, They weigh them in dead. So they can, they do stupid stuff like that sometimes. But, that's against the law. They'll get arrested and charged. I mean, that's like cheating at a casino and gambling. And I don't know if you knew that or not, but it's against the law to cheat in a bass tournament or a professional fishing tournament.
Yeah, that's wild. I saw that, I guess, a week or so ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy stuff. Let me tell you something else that's crazy, brother, just between you and I, all right? Because I feel like I'm getting to know you a little bit now. Your defense is stoning them, okay? They hadn't done anything in their first 3 series. You're stoning them, all right? It's 4th down and 6 on your own 34-yard line. punt the freaking ball away, will you, man? I mean, punt the ball away, keep playing defense. You kind of give them a life. You know, you gave them momentum, a life, the crowd getting back into it. I wasn't a big fan of that. And I know you were the guy that carried the ball, but isn't there anything like when he snapped it to you, could you have just said, screw this and kicked it? I mean, you know, I didn't understand the call. I didn't understand the call. I'm just telling you.
Well, yeah, so we actually had the look we wanted. They only had two guys there on the left side. It was the exact look that we had practiced. And all that we had to do was kick out the end there, number 4, Nolan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm probably still running today.
Nice. Yeah.
So yeah, it was there. I mean, you want to call it in a situation where, you know, they're obviously not expecting it, which they weren't. But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, you're going to live and die by the sword in that specific situation if you're going to go for it. I liked it. We just didn't execute it.
Yeah, well, it always comes down to execution, right? I mean, everything comes down to execution at the end of the day. If you execute everything, and then it all goes well. But it seemed risky because you were playing so good defensively. You know, the defense seemed to be playing well, and it just seemed like you didn't want to have to give them a short field. It seemed a little bit that way. But so have you ever done a fake punt? Have you ever run a fake punt before, other than in practice? Have you ever done it live in a game?
I ran one 2019 against Minnesota in the Outback Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Ran a little pass from the punter, but it wasn't
nice.
open or anything. Then we know it's interesting. There's a rule: if you go for a pass on punt, there's no such thing as pass interference. So they can hold you and do whatever they want to you.
Is that true? I did not know that.
Yeah. Now, I mean, if it's like super blatant, like they snatch you to the ground, yeah, but as long as you're up and you come off the line and you run a route, it's not pass interference, which we did not know that during that time. But yes, that is the case.
I didn't know that was the case. 5 more catches for you in this game. They looked at you about 8 times, I think, in the game. You come up with some key plays on third down conversions and so on. But it seemed like some of the guys struggled with the crowd. I think there was a pre-snap penalty in each of the first 5 possessions that you guys had. Just kind of take us through that, because we don't know what it's like to be on the floor, you know, at Sanford Stadium and 90,000 people going nuts and everything else. Is that I assume you're running a silent count there. Just take me through that, why that seemed to be happening quite a bit, because it puts you behind the sticks and then, you know, it just makes it that much more difficult against a great defense.
Yeah, you can't get behind the sticks against a great defense, or really any solid defense for that matter in this league. So, you know, Georgia, Bama, they love to stem, try and get you to jump off sides. They stem to the 3 down or 4 down front just based on where they are on the field. And some of it was the stem from the wide receivers would mess them up. Like they looked at the ball and they saw a stem, they would move. But we practiced it all week, so that shouldn't have been an issue. And then a few times it was the center not hearing the clap from Robbie, which, you know, that can be a problem. We've had that issue before where you can't hear. So just a few things like that. But yeah, you can't get behind the chain, especially early in the game when the crowd's really in it. You do not want to get them riled up, and we allowed them to do that earlier.
I'm amazed that you can ever hear the clap. That's the thing that blows my mind. It's how, it used to be you lift the leg, right, and everybody's looking in at the ball, and you don't seem to see a lot of that as much anymore. But I'm stunned that you ever hear the clap.
Well, it's actually not. When you're outside of the core, yeah, you can't hear it. Like if you're out in the wide receiver spot, you can't hear it. But honestly, if you're within the core, I really don't ever have an issue hearing it.
Really?
I don't know if it's just because I'm looking for it so I can hear the difference in the crowd. And normally, right before the snap, the crowd will deaden just a hair, just, you know, anticipating the play and what could happen. And they'll die down just a little bit where you normally hear it if it's like crazy, crazy loud. But yes, every now and then you might have one where you can't hear, but most of the times you can at least hear a distinction between the crowd noise and the clap.
So it's on to Ole Miss, and then you have the off week. You're a veteran, so you're not thinking about that bye week. Some of the young guys, though, you know how that sometimes it's like when you got a vacation coming and you know the vacation's in 2 weeks, you kind of go on vacation mentally next week. How do you make sure that this team stays focused going into this Ole Miss game and not thinking about, getting that break?
Yeah, well, if we want to have a chance to win this football game, we can't have that be the focus on bye week. I mean, you got a whole week of preparation. You got really, if you look at it week by week, we have a long way until the bye, just with how weeks go and the process it takes to get to a game. So, yeah, that can be a challenge for young guys. We'll have to make sure that, they're locked in. They understand that we still have a complete football game to play against a good football team that's undefeated with a lot of momentum. And, they're trying to make a run of their own now. So, and we've had some success against them recently. So we can carry that momentum and get the young guys to understand what this game means to us as well. So it should be a fun game. I enjoy playing Ole Miss. Kiffin's always a good time, so it'll be fun.
What do you see about their defense? They're a different team defensively than they've been in the past. It seems like they're getting better defensively.
Yeah, and Kiffin did a really good job in the portal this offseason. He got a lot of guys. And yeah, I agree. They're better than they've been in the past. They're not giving up a lot of points like a normal Ole Miss defense would. They're playing a lot more confidence, which they should be. They're 6-0. So, but they're I haven't watched a ton, but I know they're new. I think he's a new DC. He's a very energetic guy. I saw him in the Kentucky game. They showed him a lot, and so it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Do they? You get a lot of tape to take home yourself? Do you do a lot of film study on your own? And when you're doing that, are you looking at scheme, or are you looking more at the technique of the guy that's going to be across from you and how they like to, how they like to cover you, whether they like to funnel you to the inside or what they do to a tight end that's not often in a hand in the dirt end of the line situation. You always seem to be kind of in that little hip position.
Yeah, early in the week I do a lot of scheme just to understand the overall defense for plays and things like that. And then once we get to Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, I'll focus in on the actual guy that I'll be going against and just his technique and how he plays certain things. I've played some of these guys before, and a few of them were transferred from Auburn, so I know some of these guys pretty well. But, yeah, it's throughout the week that evolves. I try not to focus on all that at once because then you don't really get anything out of it. So I try to, early in the week, just break it up for total schematics and then later in the week move on to the player themselves.
I get the sense that you take a lot of pride in your blocking because, look, you're going to have 6 or 8 balls thrown at you throughout a game. You got another 50 plays where, you're going to be blocking, but I kind of keep an eye on you during the game. And it seems like this is something that you take very, very personal and, and you're a guy that's willing to block downfield as well.
Yeah, and, in this offense or any successful offense, you got to be able to block. Tight ends, exactly. You're only going to get 8 receptions, 8, normally a game or targets, and that's a lot of other plays where you're blocking. So, I take great pride. Coach Bedell, our tight ends coach, he's a former O-line guy, so he's really taught us well. And, yeah, we take pride in it. That's part of our job. And normally we're on the edge of the line, so we're securing edges and things like that to get the back out. So they're pretty key blocks within run games and things like that. So I do try and take that super serious.
All right, man. Well, good luck this week. Go Braves, right? Watch some Braves action, kind of kick back a little bit, watch the Bravos, maybe get some inspiration off of that. And then, have a good trip to Oxford and, get after those guys. They're 6-0, obviously. This would be you'd get a lot of notoriety off of this win if you guys can get the victory and just keep plugging away, man.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
All right, good to talk to you. Thank you. John Samuel Schenker. It's so difficult. Right, Grizz? It's so difficult. They get whacked week in and week out. What are you going to do? Ask him about the coach?
It's got to be tough.
Can't ask him about the coach. I was blunt with him. Look, everything is there when you got the chalk in your hand. Do you know how many, as a special teams coordinator, do you know how many fakes that I had drawn up? I would draw up all of these fakes during every week. I'd like, okay, look, we got this and this and this is here and that's here. We could do this onside kick and we could do this and we could do this and we could do this. And then we get in the game and then the head coach would say, okay, kick it away. I'm like, look, I think number 2 on the outside is vulnerable. He's going to come off. I think we can throw it to him. Okay, let's kick it away.
Hey,
okay.
like you said, he gets that block and he looks like a genius. And then he's off to the races.
Maybe.
See how far it would have gone.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know it's
hits
tough.
his head on a goalpost. Maybe, but those kids got. That's what my coach would always say to me. Those kids got scholarships too. He still got. Wait a minute. I think we can do that. Yeah, okay. Kick it away. Let's get a break. We'll come back and wrap it up next. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of ice from LG's exclusive slow-melting craft ice for better-tasting drinks, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Final days get up to 25% off plus 750 instant savings on select LG appliances through July 13th. Valid June 22nd through July 13th. U.S. only. Gas range extra. See store for details.
Two Maids and a Mop. That's all you need to know to clean house. Two Maids and a Mop is an award-winning company, bonded and insured. Hire them for yourself, or they have gift cards if you want to make someone else's day. Find out more online at twomaidshuntsville.com. A maid service worth talking about. Two Maids and a Mop take care of everything. They supply all the cleaning equipment needed. Call 256-883-6243. The only finger you'll need to lift is the one to call them. When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. we won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet and Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet and Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
Follow the Tide right here. Hi, this is Chris Stewart of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Your home of all things Bama is 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
TLC Sports taking care of the Valley for a long time now, more than 20 years. They have done a tremendous job. Have the after-hours clinic open every Friday night, and as it will be this Friday night, they hope that it is empty, but it will be open and available for you if you need it. And they are there. The Orthopedic Center is exactly, I mean, you couldn't have a more descriptive name, the Orthopedic Center. They're there for you, whether you got a work injury or, however you got hurt, it's the Orthopedic Center that can take care of you. All right, coming up next, the Chuck Oliver Show, followed by Paul Feinbaum, and then Wes and Steve will be interested to hear their take on what went on last week and as they start to look forward to Tennessee week, hate week as we like to call it. Not a very Christian thing to say, but hey, it's hate week, okay? It's college football. Don't forget, tomorrow after the show, it'll be Braves and Phillies, game 1 of the NLDS. Stoked for that, too. As I am tomorrow night, Yankees and the team formerly known as the Indians. That's going to do it for us. For Chad, I am the Big Dog. This is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.